Carissa Pavlika, TV fanatic.
Hey, Krista,
Hi,
how are
John.
you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So, The Last Frontier feels like the Blacklist crashed into Die Hard. What made you want
No,
to?
love
What
that.
made you want
Okay.
to set a series like that in Alaska?
Say that last part again. What made me want to set a series like that in Alaska?
Yeah.
You know, I'm from a small town. I'm from a town smaller than Fairbanks, and I don't see it represented very often. And I think it dramatically. I think it probably helps bring out the contrast between, on one hand, a very sort of romantic a guy, in a small town, living his life, going about his day, and this plane full of, criminals let loose upon his town. The stark juxtaposition of those two, I think, is an interesting space.
And you love morally tangled relationships. And here it's Frank and Sydney who are working, really partnerships is what I meant to say, not
Yeah,
relationships. Here
yeah.
they are working side by side. And I'm wondering what keeps you coming back to that dynamic of trust and deception?
Well, I think it's just I don't know why I keep going back to it. It's an area that I'm fascinated by. I think identity might even be under that, right? Who are these people? They present as one way. I think we all present as sort of a version of ourselves. And then when you peel back the layers, you find out it's not really that simple, And I think with Frank and with Sydney, both have preconceived notions of who the other are. One guy's a little old-fashioned from a small town. He has an opinion about somebody from the city. Somebody from the city who's worldly and international has an opinion about this person from this small town. I suppose also, candidly, I've lived in LA half my life. I also live in Nebraska for half my life. And I have a very unique, I think, point of view on this urban-rural divide, which I don't think is as deep as a lot of people think it is. So that's an interesting space for me.
And the show walks a line, I think, between serious thriller and like pulpy action flick.
Yeah, yeah.
How did you get those two dynamics to, centered and make sure that you didn't go too far in one direction?
Well, it's interesting. I think that's a question of tone, right? Of how do you
Right.
tone something so it feels somewhat grounded. And I think Blacklist was similar in this way. It's a heightened concept, right? It's a big idea. Could maybe be slightly comic booky, but when you have actors grounding the characters and playing it real, I think that's a really interesting intersection, right? Where you kind of mix those two together. You add in some music that sort of tells you a little bit how to feel, tells you that some of the things you think are supposed to be super serious maybe aren't that serious. Other things that are not serious, you play super serious. It's just, I don't know. I'm very interested in that space, that tone.
And why do you think viewers continue to respond so strongly to the lone wolf heroes battling bureaucracy, especially in
Well,
2025?
I mean, I think it's probably more relevant now than ever. I think, look, whatever's happening in the world politically, the geopolitics of all that, ultimately it comes back to who you are. Who is this guy, Frank? What is he going to stand for? What is he going to allow that's happening in the world to either corrupt him or not? He has a sort of his own sort of moral compass, and it's being spun around and around and around, and he's trying to find center again, to find north. And again, I think there's something relatable about that. Is why we probably keep coming back to that. We can put ourselves into the shoes of that character.
You mentioned the music a few seconds ago,
Mm.
or in the last question, and I absolutely loved the music choices
Oh,
for
thank you.
this series. Were you involved in the music choices? I mean, was that you?
Yeah, well, we
Right.
have a wonderful. There's a couple answers to that. Ariel Marks, we have our composer Ariel Marks, did a fantastic job bringing in both a score, but also some indigenous sort of elements and performers that kind of give it a little more of an Alaska vibe. And then the music, yeah, we have a fantastic music supervisor, Kira Ellis, who we bounce around a lot of songs. Sometimes, yes, I'm just like, I've been waiting to use this song forever. I'll be walking around at a swap meet and I get my Shazam out and I'm like, oh wait, let's write a scene around that. And other times the editors or a music supervisor will come in and have something completely unexpected, and I'm just like, wonderful, you know. So I really love that part of the process, trying to find that tone and sort of suggesting it with the music. I think is always fun to do.
Well, it all landed really well for me. I can't
Oh,
wait for
good.
other people to see it.
Oh,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much for your time, John.
Absolutely, thank you.